Hi everyone, recently I made a video on racing on a budget. Today however, MOZA reached out and they sent something over. My first experience with a direct drive wheel. And I'm very curious how this actually performs. Now, note, this is my first impression and not a full review of it. That will come later when I actually have a rig to put it on. Right now I don't have a rig and I have just a jerry rig everything kind of setup. Either way, we're gonna test it, see how it works so far, and just my initial impressions. If you do want to get this wheel as well, you can actually get 5% discount via RaceDepartment if you are a premium member. That's like 15 euros a year, and then you can get a wheel like this for 5% discount, which is actually a really good deal. Either way, let's jump into the video. To begin with, when MOZA sent this over, they sent over actually several things. Of course we got a wheelbase, but you can also see we get an extra display on top. That one is actually really nice, but we're gonna discuss that a little bit later. And we also have two wheels. We of course have our normal round wheel, which is actually also really nice in terms of feel, though I do have a feedback about that, and that's the stitching itself, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And of course, what you already saw, the Formula 1 wheel. Now this one is really nice. I would advise to put gloves on because simply put, this can rub off on your finger. So gloves for this probably is a good idea. Either way, when it comes to build quality, both of these wheels feel really solid. You hope so also for the price because they're not cheap. The wheelbase is actually cheaper than the wheels themselves. But overall, really good build quality. It doesn't feel like they said, you know what, let's save some money on certain parts. So really good in terms of build quality, and of course it is nice that you can just simply attach and detach quite easily. So one of the things that I really like while using this so far is the software experience itself. So let's just look at the software experience so far that I have, of course, with these wheels and explain how it works. So let's quickly look at the software experience. Of course we can see that you can actually adjust all the buttons here on the wheel itself, which is really easy. It detects of course if you are rotating the wheel and whatnot, which is pretty normal. You can also set of course your rotation, so the steering angle itself, and of course this goes up to like 2000, which is not really needed, but there you go. You can easily set it up as such. When it comes to other settings here, you can easily change the wheelbase settings, so the gain force intensity, maximum speed of steering wheel, and so on. In advanced settings you can also play around with it, and of course force feedback effect equalizer. Now in this you can set it up to your own preference when it comes to just the force feedback, and that's actually quite nice. This is something new for me and I haven't experienced that myself, so I think this is a really good addition, and again really simple to adjust as well. Of course when it comes to the wheel itself, you do have that light on it as well. You can turn it off, you can turn it on, it just depends on what you want. And of course here again you have a lot of different things that you can play around with when it comes to of course the settings of the wheel itself. Now of course I don't have any pedals at the moment, but they are coming, so stay tuned for that. And of course we do have a display as well. Now this display you can play around with. I think this is actually a really nice addition. You can see your estimated lap time for instance, and the gap itself, best lap, last lap, and of course the gears and so on. Important information that is displayed in different styles that you prefer. So you can see you have a lot of different styles when it comes to this. If you simply want it simple, well, pick the first one. It's really simple and a great overview in general. Overall, I will have to say that the software experience is actually really solid. It's easy to read what you are doing, what you are changing, and of course you can just play around with it. Especially the display having different options I truly like, and of course having the option to change your force feedback the way you like it to be. Those things are just really nice to have, and I think they've done an excellent job when it comes to software experience. So, how's the first experience for someone who has never driven a direct drive wheel? Straight away what it gives me is a lot more confidence. I feel more one with the road itself, and it definitely helps me, especially because I find it really important to understand what the car is doing. If I don't, I'm quite slow, honestly, realistically. While I'm drifting through this corner, which was not planned, but there you go. Either way, when it comes to just driving experience, it definitely feels a lot more better. It gives me more confidence when driving said wheel, so therefore definitely a plus for me. The force feedback is really good as well, and again, this allows me just to drive a bit more on the edge and just knowing what the car is doing instead of somewhat guessing. Well, the T300 doesn't have that, of course. When it comes to guessing, I still feel what the car is doing. It's different when it comes to this. The level of force feedback is just very different, and it allows me to understand the car more than normal. Not to mention, even though this is a jerry-rig everything setup, when it comes to how I now have the drive wheel put, it is still more stable than my T300. The clamshell just doesn't work that well. So I'm very curious when the rig comes in, how that experience is. And of course, there's gonna be a video for that one. So be sure to subscribe. And when the pedals come in, of course, a video with the full review of the whole MOZA setup. Again, you can get 5% discount when it comes to this setup itself via RaceDepartment if you are a premium member. So do check it out. If you are looking for a new wheel, definitely become a premium member. And it also allows ad-free searching through the site itself as well, by the way. So that definitely helps out RaceDepartment. It helps out creating videos, of course, like this, and of course writing articles about new products, and of course the other things related to sim racing. But yes, the biggest takeaway in this first impression is just the feel itself. That's definitely improved, and that's definitely something that I truly enjoy about this setup itself. So, as stated, there are some comments that I have, especially when it comes to this wheel. I love driving it, don't get me wrong, but gloves are necessary. Not because of the same reason that I have with the Formula 1 wheel, but basically because of the stitching itself. It's kind of rough, and if you are, of course, a user that likes to hold the wheel quite tightly, your hand just slips over it, and it will just leave marks on your hand. It's not comfortable, and if you are driving this for a longer amount of time, I think the stitching is badly placed. So I would have loved to see that somewhere different. Outside, for instance, makes a lot more sense because there your palm doesn't move the same way as your thumb does. Your thumb has a lot of grip to it, and if you just keep sliding over it, it's not comfortable. And I think that's something that they should have done a little bit different here when it comes to the wheel itself. Apart from that, again, great build quality and great wheel overall. Just that minor thing that I feel like is a bit annoying. So gloves definitely recommended when using this wheel. So, while these are my first impressions, I have to say that I'm enjoying my time with the MOZA R9 wheelbase and of course the accessories. It has great build quality, the force feedback feels amazing, and the wheels again, same, high build quality and very useful. And of course, the display is also very useful for the basic information that I like to know. Now be sure to stay tuned by subscribing and hitting the bell icon for a full review when I can properly test it with a rig. Of course, I'm allowing a bit more of that horsepower to be used. And of course, do check out the link in the description where you can check out the MOZA R9 wheelbase, which again was kindly sent over by MOZA. Either way, have a good one and talk to you guys in the next video.